Hey guys, this is Mr. A. Crizzy here, and in today's movie review, this is going to be on a movie from 2018, and that's going to be A Quiet Place. Yep, that's right. I watched this movie on VOD. I rented it for $3 recently, and I watched it for the first time. Yep, this is part one that I'm reviewing. And so A Quiet Place is directed by John Krasinski and stars John Krasinski himself. And this movie also stars Emily Blunt as well. And so together, John Krasinski and Emily Blunt play this couple, known as the Abbott couple, and they're part of the family called the Abbott family, and of course Emily Blunt and John Krasinski's characters are named Lee and Evelyn, and so excuse me. And so, A Quiet Place is basically about the Abbott family who they're all trying their best to stay quiet. Of course, they're all trying their best to stay quiet through and communicate through sign language because there's these demons these demons and monsters that are always triggered by a sound or noise. And so if you make a sound, then the demons or monsters will come at you and kill you. So altogether, the Abbott family, Evelyn and Lee, they all have to do whatever they can to try not to make a sound and hopefully survive. So yeah. So that's pretty much what A Quiet Place is about. So, like I said, I watched this movie on VOD recently. I rented it for $3 on VOD, and I gotta say, A Quiet Place is actually a really good movie from 2018. Yeah. And I do know there's a sequel coming out. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing A Quiet Place Part 2. That's coming out this Friday, May 28th. And yeah, and of course, my mom also loves this movie too because I know she loves Emily Blunt and she also loves John Krasinski as well. It is pretty cool how John Krasinski and Emily Blunt worked on this movie, and it's also pretty cool how they're both married in real life too. And yeah, and of course, this is part one that I'm reviewing. Like I said, A Quiet Place Part 1, and what makes a Quiet Place Part 1 really good? It's because I thought it was really cool how the characters were communicating and through American Sign Language, like without using their mouths. Like they communicate with their hands, called sign language. And when I was watching this movie on VOD, I also thought it was super cool how they added subtitles so that way you can understand what the characters are saying through sign language. And of course, it's not even that scary at all. I mean, some people do consider this as a horror movie, but it's kind of not that much of a horror movie in my opinion, because it kind of feels more like a thriller film. Like I agree with some of my friends out there, but some people do count this as a horror film, this is probably this is probably like, yeah, this was actually my first time watching A Quiet Place, and I'm still looking forward to seeing A Quiet Place Part 2. And John Krasinski, like he does a great job directing this movie, and he will return to direct the sequel as well. And Emily Blunt did a great job in this movie too. And yeah, and like I said, I do have plans on seeing A Quiet Place Part 2, which makes me very interested in seeing A Quiet Place Part 2, the sequel. And and of course, like I said, I do see why Quiet Place Part 2 has been pushed back so many times. Like A Quiet Place Part 2 was first scheduled for a March 20th, 2020 release, but then was pushed back. Like, it was pushed back a couple times to September 4th, 2020, but then it got pushed to a 2021 release. But the good thing is, A Quiet Place Part 2 will be officially coming out in theaters on May 28th, which is this Friday. And then 45 days later, after it comes out in theaters, Paramount Plus, it will be available on streaming on Paramount Plus. Yeah. Yeah, and even like the sound design in A Quiet Place, it's like pretty intense, like pretty scary at the same time, but it's like scary in a good way. It's kind of like when I also watched the It movies, like from 2017 and 2019. I'm slowly starting to get in the I'm actually slowly starting to get in the mood of horror movies. Yeah, but of course I do understand why some people out there don't like horror films, and I understand that. But I enjoyed A Quiet Place, and I also enjoyed the It movies as well. So overall, A Quiet Place is a really good movie from 2018, and also I will say one of the best movies of 2018 as well. So Quiet Place Part 1, really good movie from 2018. I'm going to give A Quiet Place 5 out of 5 stars. And if you like horror movies, then I definitely recommend checking out A Quiet Place Part 1 before the sequel comes out this Friday. But if you're not, but like I said, if you're not a fan of horror movies, then that's fine with me. I understand those thoughts and opinions on why some people don't like horror films. So there you have it, guys. So that's going to be it for my movie review on A Quiet Place. And so that's going to be it for this video. So make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And as always, thanks for watching. And until next time, this is Mr. A. Crizzy saying goodbye, everybody, and that's about it.